This week I'm going to show you the number one skill you need to think about in order to catch that sense of warm evening light across a poppy field in Provence. Two quick points before we get to that poppy field. The registration for my online course, Mastering Composition, closes tonight, February 1st at 11:59. There's a link down below if you want more information. And I hope you've enjoyed the extra videos I made this week. I thought some of the content was, engaging and rich, and I hope you enjoyed that. I want to make sure that I'm giving proper attention to my students during the course, the next 6 weeks. So I'm going to go to YouTube once a month, and so it'll come out the first Tuesday of each month. And if you'd like to make sure you get that, you can go to my website, ianroberts.com. You can click on there, sign up, and you will get one email a month with that video embedded. So in painting warm evening light, the main point is the temperature shift is getting exaggerated. If you happen to live in a place where there's snow and you go out in the evening and you look at that warm evening light, you can see how, against the snow, how orange the light is and how blue the shadows are. So the number one skill in giving that sense of evening light is to exaggerate the temperature shift and to separate them so that they never cross over and confuse the viewer of like, oh, is that in shadow or is that in light? So you might say, but Ian, like if you're looking at a poppy field, the poppy field's pretty warm. How would you paint the poppy field cool? Well, every color is warm and cool in relation to another. So you'll see that I've got a very warm red there for the shadow color, and what's in light is almost orange. So here's my palette for the painting. You can pause if you just want to have a look at it and write it down. I keep the painting very simple. It's 12 by 16 in oils, and there's two layers that I'm thinking about at the same time. One, obviously, is if light's shining on things, you have the lit side, the dark side. There's a value shift, and that value shift is corresponding also with the exaggerated temperature shift of the warm evening light. And you'll see that I'm basically just painting in shapes. There's a warm light shape and a cool dark shape. And if you just put those pieces in place, you will get the sense of evening light. I've kept out all the detail, removed it all, and it's sort of like that 80-20 rule. I'm sure you've heard it in conjunction with something like, I can't think. I think it actually came originally from someone that found 80% of their peas came from 20% of the pods. But whatever it is, it's almost like by paying attention to those two things of the exaggerated temperature shift and making sure that it also corresponds to the value shift, you can get away with leaving details and other things apart. If you get that, that's like the 80% thing that will make sure your painting works. So I'll see you at the end. So in each thing we're looking at, we need to decide, is it in light? Is it in shadow? So with a tree like this is in light, this is in shadow. This whole field is in shadow. This whole set of trees is in shadow. And the field back here and the poppy field is sort of broken like that. That's all in shadow. So the first thing would be to break it into three categories like this: the sky and the distant blue, the sunlit, and the shadow. And those three parts cannot start getting confused. The main thing is to keep those three parts separate, warm and cool. If you're looking at that tree at the back of the field, that might be the color of the sunlit part, and that might be the color of the shadowed part. I mean, obviously they're going to be different values, different intensities, but that's, let's say, the shift in temperature. Well, when you come to the poppy field in the shadow is going to be cool. Well, this doesn't look cool, this is hot. But compared to, say, here, the same distance there, then what we get is a warm and a cool red. And because they're consistent in the distance they are apart, warm to cool, they read as sunlight. The main thing here is going to be showing you how I keep the big shadowed areas apart and the sunlit ones. And yes, there's little leaves and all kinds of things going on, but that will be the main shift. Now you'll see this is a lighter side. It's not sunlit. It's still in the shadow, but there's light coming in from above and it's sort of giving it a lighter quality. Now there's zone number 1, we can call it, which is the pale blue in the background and that pale sort of mountain. I've simplified it all down, all right? One line of blue for all those distant things. But you'll see, I just keep doing that rather than getting in like 3 layers of distance with all the little houses and so on. It's just one line and then one that comes a little bit closer, still back there, but kind of in the distance. But you'll see that what the main thing I'm doing is keeping it really simple. Lit shape, dark shape, lit shape. See, there's a lit shape. And you can see the way it bounces, jumps in terms of light and dark against that line of trees way in the distance there. You immediately say, ooh, there's sun shining. And then now this is where the shadows on this field, and we say, oh, I see, darker, cooler, and we're getting the sense of sunlight on that far field. And then there's sunlight sort of hitting back in there. Now there is the first hit of poppy field in shadow. And that's obviously a rich, red, hot color. But it has to be, because they're poppies. But it's the shift that you see, there is the shift to sort of an orange color. That shift allows us, you're going to see I'll clean up the edges as I go. It allows us to see that shift of warm and cool on the grasses or in the trees, like I'm doing here, the shadow side. And then in a moment I'll get to the lit side and you'll see, oh, there's that shift of warm there. There's that shift of warm to cool. And it's the same amount of shift of warm to cool in the poppies. And so it just keeps consistent. And that is the main thing I'm wanting to keep happening in every shape I make. Warm and cool, keeping it apart. Now this whole foreground area, lots of sort of shifting values and greens and things like that, but they're all in shadow, they're all cool greens. And then there's just a line of shadow at the very back to make sure we're seeing the end of the field. There's actually a little hit of sunlight in the actual photograph at the back of the field, and then you can see I've shifted there and there's some darks, and I actually play around with the foreground quite a bit and end up after a while just simplifying it because I just felt it got too busy. But everything in there is falling in that family. So here I'm putting in a little bit of information for the various trunks, but just enough to kind of carry it. And you can see those two branches they're quite light, right? So they don't pull too much attention. And then these are just lots of paint in there and just drag it right down one line right over everything. And again, they're just dark enough, it's all in shadow. So you can really see now, even at this point, you can really see everything, how it's coming together, lit side, dark side, and keeping those two parts apart so that nothing in the lit side ever sort of gets confused with the shadow, and nothing in the dark side ever gets confused with the light. And then now sort of some edges of how the tree might be made a little bit more complex, but using the same value, sort of some drawing in there against the lights, and being careful not to get things that are too jarring against the light. Lightening that part where the light is coming down above and catching it, but creating quite a range there, but still all in shadow. And then, one or two sky holes just to kind of give us the sense of, not tons of them, just enough to say there's some kind of, there you see I'm simplifying the foreground. I just felt it had got too complicated. But you can see how much I've simplified everything, and the thing is being carried because of that warm and cool shift in the sunlight. And then you get the finished painting, And I've adjusted a few things for sure, but for the most part, all those shifts, all the things that you saw me painting are still completely in place. There's just few little adjustments here and there to kind of pull the edges together and so on. But that is the main thing in painting warm evening light, or any light really, but warm evening light, a consistent shift of temperature from the warm to the cool, and making sure you keep those two families apart so that we really get the sense of the light hitting the landscape. So I hope you enjoyed that. Please do like it if you enjoyed it. Please do sign up on my email list if you want to get these YouTube videos in your inbox once a month. Please do subscribe. I will see you in a month. I hope you have a fantastic time. I hope by then sort of this whole COVID thing has finally started to subside, and we can start to get back to something normal. So I hope everyone around you is well and you're well, and I will see you next month. Bye for now.